I'm gonna give you a little tip here that's gonna make your life better. Why? Because it's going to keep a certain part of your ego in check. Now, quickly, what is the ego? The ego is, in a nutshell, it's a very complicated subject, but in a nutshell, it's your ID. Okay, it's your ID card in the game of life. Okay, it's your sense of individuality and sense of separation from others. So you say, my name is so and so. My name is Saeed, right? I am a male. Da 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 da. Okay. Every time I say something, it is, I'm distinguishing myself, who I think I am in this mind body complex, from others. Okay, and it is the way we experience ourselves is the way God experiences itself in the game. It separates itself, goes from oneness into all these separate parts, experiences itself as Saeed, as John, as Susie, as Doggy, as Cat, as everything, as watermelon. Got a big watermelon over there, big one. Okay, that's God too, experiencing itself in everything. Okay, so the sense of separation, the sense of individuality is due to your ego, right? And what you gotta do, in a nutshell, is the mind is the ego, right? The Hindus say that the mind is a useful servant but a terrible master. Okay, if that's ego, that sense of individuality, that sense of distinguished self, becomes your master, your life is going to be in ruins. Okay, whereas if it's your servant and you're realizing you're one with everything, you're connected to everything, and you're also realizing at the same time that you are that part of God that is you experiencing itself in this individual self, so you have a healthy relationship with your ego. So this is a very complex subject. I'm gonna make a different video on it in the future. What is the ego? Discussing it in detail. Now, the topic that I want to talk about here in this video is, I'm gonna give you this tip. Don't take credit for anything that you do. Okay? I'm telling you right now. Don't take credit. Just don't take credit. If you play sport and you're, I don't know, let's say you're a striker in your football team, and you score a lot of goals, don't take credit for the goals. Okay? Just don't take credit for them. Do what Messi does. He goes up there, puts his hands up, he gives it to God. Okay? Just don't take credit for it. Don't take credit for things that you're successful at. If you invest some money and in a year you put $1,000 and it becomes $100,000, don't take credit. Don't say I did it. Don't take credit. Say, well, I did it, you know? Of course, when you describe it to someone, you can say, oh yeah, I put $1,000, it became 100,000. But I'm talking about your inner monologue dialogue, okay? I'm talking about your inner dialogue here between you and you, okay? Don't take credit for it. Just give it to God. Give it to something higher power. Give it to the Tao. Why is that? You know? Well, first of all, of course, this is gonna keep you humble and it's gonna keep your ego in check, but you have to understand why you're doing this, and this is very important because you don't want this to become fake humbleness. Okay, there is fake humbleness is actually like ego to the power of infinity. Why is that? Because if you're faking your humbleness, you're faking it so that you project your self-image as someone that is humble because you know that people like humble people, so you fake your humbleness. That's like pure egotistical. It's like your ego is your master, it's not your servant. Alright? You're too busy in your mind fabricating stories about how to appear holy and lovable by other humans. Okay, no, we want genuine, authentic, organic humbleness based on understanding. Let's take a look at the example of the striker that's always scoring goals for his team, right? He's the best player in the team. Well, if that striker it gets into his head and he starts to think, oh, I'm doing everything for my team. I'm the best player. I'm doing everything for my team. I'm scoring all the goals. You know, you're really, that's illusion. That's the illusion of separation at its finest. Why? Because, first of all, to score goals, usually, all the time actually, you need good teammates, you need good midfielders, you need people to pass you the ball, you need people to give you good crosses if you're just going to score with your head, you need people to win you penalties in the box, you need teammates, you need a good goalkeeper. If you have a shitty goalkeeper and the other team keeps scoring goals on you, it doesn't matter if you score 2 goals, they're going to score like 4 on you, and then no one's even going to give a shit that you scored a goal. So that striker's glory when he's scoring a goal is related to the goalkeeper and his team saving all the balls from going in. Because if you're always scoring goals but your team's constantly losing, no one's gonna give a shit you're scoring. Okay, so you realize you're working as a unit here and you're connected with your team, and I reckon that's the reason why neither Messi nor Ronaldo has been doing good for the last few seasons, because they don't have good teammates. You know, when they were at their prime, everybody gave them credit, but really, I mean, Messi had Xavi, Iniesta, Piqué, Puyol at his prime, Puyol. You know, that was an incredible team Messi had. Okay, yeah, he's the best player. He stood out, but look, without his teammates, look, it doesn't matter. He still scores a lot of goals, right? Still assists a lot, but Barca's not winning anything. Same with Juventus. Ronaldo's like the top scorer this last season, but Juventus barely made it to Champions League and just, you know, was a complete failure otherwise. You know, complete failure, had a complete failure season. They don't have good teammates, right? Their ego is getting checked, because if they thought in their prime that they were doing everything, well, now they probably like fully realize they need really good teammates. Okay? So yeah, but that's only small part of it. Then you zoom out again and you realize, for instance, that, you know, if it wasn't for your dad, for example, you know, again, in the case of both Messi and Ronaldo, their dads, especially Messi, I'm not so sure about Ronaldo. I know his dad died in an early stage, but I'm pretty sure he pushed him too, right? Their dads, or whatever, your relatives, people who loved you, really pushed you into this, took care of you, fed you food, made sure that you know, you don't miss your practice, woke you up in the morning, you know, gave you money, gave you things. Your coaches, your youth coaches who looked out for you. When you really zoom out and look at all the forces that gave you this opportunity to become the top scorer in your team, you cannot help but be humbled. You cannot help but give credit to all, that is, to the all. It can't be helped, guys. It can't be helped. Think about it. When you really understand that, when you add up everything, when you remember that one time you got in an accident, a car accident. I mean, this happened to me, right? I got in a serious car accident with my family when I was 12 or 13. And it was miraculous that we all survived. We were going very fast, 120 kilometers an hour on a highway in Saudi Arabia. And we got in a serious car accident. The car was totaled. We couldn't use it anymore. My dad had to buy a new car. But miraculously, not even a scratch on anybody. Really miraculous. Now, if I was to take credit, for instance, right now for making this video, right? For making these videos and you know, saying, well, Said, you're a really good speaker, you know, you can communicate your ideas very well. That's recognizing it. But if I say to myself, it's nothing wrong with recognizing that. I recognize that. But if I was to say, wow, I did all of this. I'm proud of myself. I did all of this. You know, whoa, you know, I did all of this. I am a legend. You know, and if I wasn't to remember what all the factors that came in, including that accident, you know, this is where I give credit to divine protection, angelic and benevolent beings that looked out for us. Somehow, not a single scratch. You know, if that wasn't the case, I wouldn't even be here right now, taking credit for things that I think I've done. Okay, it's one thing to recognize your talents and abilities. It's another thing to take credit for them and take pride in them. When you take pride, you know, pride is a sin. It really is. Sin means you miss the mark, and you miss the point. You don't zoom out enough and see how everything is so connected to itself. And when you really see the connection of everything, you can't help but give credit to the all. You just can't help it. You just cannot help it. Right? You can't help it. Simple as that. You can't help it. Whether it's humans that have helped you along the way, animals that have helped you along the way, divine beings that you can't even see or hear, have looked out for you, gave you guidance. Your teacher in elementary school, so you had some teacher that completely had an effect on your life, completely changed it. Your coach, whatever it is, really don't take credit. Don't take credit. I think that's a good tip. But understand why. Understand why. And whenever you do something, and that something turns out to be, a positive thing, like again, you're like, I don't know, you're the best athlete in your school or something like that, or you're a really successful businessman, you make a lot of money, or another thing, like you're handsome, or you're a beautiful woman, and you have really attractive physical features, and wherever you go in the world, everyone's like drawn to your physical features. Did you even give yourself these physical features, or were they given to you? They were given to you by DNA. You didn't even have any control over it. How can you take credit for something you haven't done? And the truth is, you haven't really done much. You're an instrument to God. You never really do anything. You're an instrument to God, and you're an instrument to the Tao. You're an instrument to the way. You're an instrument to the all, to the force, whatever you want to call it. As long as you give it to a higher power. That's it. Simple. I don't care what it is you believe in. Krishna, Jesus. Give it to a higher power, a third entity that is everything, basically. And you'll be a happier human being. You'll be a truly, genuinely, organically humbler human being. Your ego will remain in check. Parts of it remains in check, enough for you for it not to get too much in the way. Okay, you cannot get rid of your ego. It's the instrument by which you are experiencing yourself in this universe. However, you can keep it in check. You can tame it. You can keep it as your servant and not your master. And when you realize how connected you are with everything and all the forces that come together to give you a successful outcome, then you can't help but not take the credit for that successful outcome anymore. You just give it to the all. You give it to the force. You give it to the way, to the Tao. And then, paradoxically, when you do that really from a place of inner understanding, paradoxically, you're given even more things. Life is a paradox like that. You give it all up and you have it all. And if you give credit, you give credit to the way and you understand it. Not fake humbleness, guys. Not the fake type of humbleness and I'm going to do this because I'm going to appear to be a good person, because that's what a spiritual person does. Because that's what a good person does. A good person is a humble person. People love humble people. So I'm going to be humble so that people love me more. So God gives me more things. It doesn't work like that. It's an intent-based simulation. It's an intent-based universe. The universe reads your intent. You can't lie to the universe. If it's not coming from a place of inner understanding, the universe is, you're really full of yourself, trying to be all humble and stuff. It's like, the universe knows. You can't fool the universe, okay? Because it reads your intent every moment, for every single moment to moment. It's reading your intention. But just understand it. I think the most important thing to understand. Illumination is understanding. Illuminate yourself as to why that is, as to why you really shouldn't really be taking credit for things. Understand it before you do it, and it will happen out of a place of understanding. Like, of course I can't take credit for this, right? If you're, let's say you have good looks, let's say you remember you almost got in an accident, but you got protected somehow. Well, if you could have, or like, let's say you were near a fire and something burned, and a friend of yours that his face got burned, but you somehow survived. You see, how can you even take credit? Oh, I have good looks, I have this. Your face could have been burned there, but it didn't. So you ought to be thankful for that. So gratitude, I think gratitude is important. Gratefulness. So when you give credit to that third thing, that third force, that third entity, you're essentially being grateful. So you say thank you. If you're successful at something, say thank you. If you're the top scorer in your team, say thank you. Thank you for giving me strength. Thank you for giving me all this to be the top scorer, the top athlete in my school or in my team. Thank you. If you invest your money or you get lots of money or this or that, or you're successful, just say thank you. There you go. You give credit. By saying thank you, you're giving credit. You're acknowledging that it isn't you that done it. You're an instrument and you're giving these things. Okay? Hopefully that illuminated you guys. I would like to thank our patrons. I would like to thank the donors. I love you guys. Thank you for your appreciation through financial means. If you're interested, you can join the Patreon or simply donate something on PayPal. If you have anything you want to donate, minimum is $1 million. Thinking about raising that to 2 million. So you know, if you've got a few millions, you can send them our way. We'd really appreciate that. Yeah, that's about it, guys. I love you, and until next time, may the force be with you.